Indonesia is a massive archipelago in Southeast Asia. There are plenty of great countries in Asia to live in, and Indonesia certainly has a lot of great things going for it. Is it a decent option to escape the West from? Let's find out. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it for free, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. The more interactivity, the better, and the more videos I can provide you with. Indonesia lies partly in Southeast Asia and partly in Oceania, and is spread across 17,000 islands between the Indian and Pacific Oceans. It is the largest archipelago in the world, with mountains, islands, volcanoes, beautiful beaches, massive rivers and lakes, and so on. It shares borders with Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, Australia, India, Papua New Guinea, and a few more. If these strike you as countries that are pretty far apart, it's because Indonesia takes up a pretty large chunk of territory, nearly 2 million square kilometers. That's a lot. It's the fourth most populous country in the world and the most populous Muslim majority country. More than half of the population lives at the largest island of Java. It lies on the Pacific Ring of Fire, so volcanoes erupt and earthquakes occur rather often. There are 130 active volcanoes, which in my opinion is a pretty big deal. Indonesia has one of the world's highest levels of biodiversity, both above and under the sea, with unique animals such as Komodo dragons. The island of Bali is a very popular tourist spot with its beautiful beaches and relaxed lifestyle. For the longest time, Indonesia has been a mixture of hundreds of cultures, and at the moment there are over 1,300 ethnic groups and 700 languages. This is mostly due to colonialism and heavy trade with nations from all over the world. It is the only G20 member state in Southeast Asia and the largest economy in the region. Alright, let's take a look at some of the many benefits of living in Indonesia. The climate is typical of what you'd expect of a country near the equator: hot, sunny, humid, and relatively even all year long. Traveling to Indonesia isn't that difficult, and the visa process is pretty relaxed. Most Westerners do not need to apply for one, and you can get a single entry for 30 days, with the possibility to extend it for up to 60 days. You can also get a multiple entry visa, 6 months to 2 years, for business activities. The cost of living in Indonesia is very low, as can be expected from a typical Southeast Asian country. A single person can get by on roughly $750 to $1,000 per month, but that would limit you to the basics. I would say that if you expect to be spending $1,500 to $2,000 a month, you will not want for anything. You can compare the cost of living in Indonesia to Thailand, Vietnam, or the Philippines. You don't need to earn much money to live well here. Local crime does occur, but in general, Indonesia is safe to live in, from a human to human perspective at least. Internationally, Indonesia avoids conflict and does not interfere with other countries, making it very unlikely to get involved in a war, unless China jumps on the decline of the West to aggressively expand, of course. Indonesia is absolutely breathtaking. It has one of the world's highest levels of biodiversity, with animals and plants that cannot be found elsewhere. It boasts mountains and beaches, forests and lakes, and exploring this country can take a lifetime. As is the case with many other Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia's economy is growing rapidly, at an average GDP growth over the last 10 years of 5.5% per year. It's already a local economic force to be reckoned with, and it will likely continue to grow in the next few decades. People in Indonesia are generally friendly and welcoming to foreigners. You can own houses and apartments here, and the real estate rental yield is pretty high in the capital Jakarta. Sounds pretty good so far, right? But there are some downsides of living in Indonesia as well. Indonesia has 130 active volcanoes, frequent earthquakes, and other fun stuff like tsunamis. 86% of Indonesians are Muslim, which means they follow archaic beliefs, and things like Sharia law and Islamic schools are a thing here. Fortunately, Islam here is way less militant than in countries like Afghanistan, and most people seem to just want to live their lives in peace. Non-residents are taxed on income from Indonesia only, at a flat rate of 20%. Keep in mind that you are considered a resident taxpayer if you spend over half the year here, which means you will have to pay between 5 and 30% taxes on your worldwide income. Getting permanent residency is possible. You need to get a temporary residence permit first and then keep it for 5 years. The permanent residence permit can be extended for up to 25 years. However, there are many requirements for this. Citizenship is likewise possible, but of course it has many requirements as well, and the Indonesian government does not recognize dual citizenship, which makes it a no-go in my opinion. The average level of English proficiency in this country is low, But of course, if you stick to more touristy areas, you should be fine. Let's look at some concrete numbers now and see how Indonesia fares on my scoring system based on its climate, level of English proficiency, cost of living, taxes on international income, economic growth, safety, and the logistics of moving and staying there. If we take the average of all these numbers, we can see that Indonesia gets a decent 7 out of 10, which isn't amazing, but it's about average, and depending on what you're looking for, it could certainly be an option for you. In summation, how is living in Indonesia as a foreigner? Living in Indonesia as a foreigner is pretty damn awesome if you keep certain things in mind. The downsides aren't numerous, but can be significant, depending on what you want and what's important to you. The beautiful nature, low cost of living, friendly locals, and generally laid back and easy way of living are what make Indonesia really great. In my opinion, the positives outweigh the negatives, but your mileage may vary. I'd say take a trip and find out what it's like. You might fall in love with this absolutely gorgeous country and decide to make it your new home. There we go. Hope you learned something about this country. I'm curious to hear about your thoughts. Are you interested in moving to Indonesia? Or have you been living here for a while and want to add something I forgot to mention? Let me know in the comments below. In any case, if you want more information about other countries you can move to, check out my website at escapingthewest.net. If you want to learn more about why the Western world is going down, how you can make sure you're protected, or just want to support the channel, consider checking out my new book available on Amazon. Link in the description. Thank you all so much for watching and see you in the next video.